Welcome back, guys, to another episode of our segment Empowered Abroad. This week, we have two of my old international friends who I met in university in Malaysia, Monash University, when I was studying there. Jennifer and Rafi, thank you both so much for being here. One by one, starting with Jen, can you guys introduce yourself?
Okay, hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a Malaysian coming from Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. And I knew Sam actually since college. And we went to uni together, and that's how we got to know each other. So yeah,
So,
I
for those like who don't know, just a prefix, we met each other in college. We did foundation together in 2019. She was not in foundation; she was doing another program in 2019, and then advanced towards Monash University. The program was called OSMED. So, Jen, can you like tell those who don't know what that program is?
So Australian matriculation or AUSMED is basically a matriculation course set by Western of Australia where it's 50% exam based and 50% internal assignments. So but then when you really get into it, it's really 100% assignment and 100% exam. And then
Mm.
like in the end they just combine the two of it together out of 100. So in that sense, the workload is a lot, and
Mm.
I remember just having assignments or weekly tests like every single week. And on top of that, we have a lot of like homeworks,
Yes.
just class tests and all that. So I practically lived in the library most
Yeah.
of the time while I see Saim and the others who are taking Muffy, which is Monash University Foundation year.
Yeah.
They're pretty much relaxed compared to me. And the funny thing is, in the beginning, I was actually contemplating between Muffy and Osmat. But the reason why I went for Osmat is because initially I wasn't really sure where I'm gonna go after my foundation. So Osmat was the one that was worldwide recognized, while Muffy was only recognized in Australia. So that's why I went for Osmat instead. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like, for those who watched the last episode, it was one of the most viewed episodes I had with Shireen, Ronnie, and Asad, who are my friends also, and Jennifer, Rafi know about them too. We're all together in Malaysia and close friends. So they did foundation with me last, like I said in the last episode, and then Jen was in a different program. So
Mhm.
we always used to make fun of the fact that she's always studying and we're always free. And the ironic part is that she wanted all these options, but she ended up being with us in Monash. So we used to make fun of that about her. But Rafi, what about you? Give a bit of an intro. When did we meet? How did we get to know each other?
Ah, well, so I'm Rafi.
Yeah.
But actually, I've met like Saim and the others through Jennifer actually, because she's my primary school friend back in Sabah. So when I first came to Monash for degree, then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna introduce you to my friends," and apparently it's them.
Yeah.
And after she left for Australia,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
replaced
That's the
her.
funny part.
Yeah, I replaced her for a while, and then I got close with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were you doing before Monash University, Malaysia?
Oh, actually, I was doing foundation in Help University, which is also like somewhat nearby to Sunway, but not really. Because I have no idea where to proceed, but I don't want to take science, so I just did foundation in arts in Help. And after that, I wanted like for degree, I want to have a fresh start, so I went to Monash and did something that I'm interested in, and it's on the path for my future dream career, which is a diplomat for the country. Something like that. So I did
Mm-hmm.
bachelor in arts and social science, major in global studies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you were interested in international relations, is it? I mean, we haven't talked about this in
Yeah,
details. You're
yeah.
interested in international relations. It's so ironic that like we've known each other so long, but I never like talked about it in details about your career path. I don't know why. It just never came about for some reason.
It's like I'm a reserved kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
no
so like
worries.
the main thing about you guys, and which I also want to tell the audience, is the fact that you guys are Malaysians, of course. We've already delved into how Malaysia is like for international students. So for you guys, you also had an international journey, right? Jen
Yep.
and Rafi, for all the listeners, went to Australia for exchange program at different times, of course, in their time in Monash University. So I want to ask you guys this question. Any one of you can answer. How was the process like? The application process for exchange, the grade requirements, was it hard, was it easy, how was it like leading up to that exchange?
Maybe I'll go first because I was the first person who went to, I mean, I was the first batch to go to Australia right after they opened up the borders
Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah.
COVID. And then yeah, Rafi went on the subsequent year. So during my time, because we're the first batch to open up for exchange. So the process wasn't too complicated. It didn't take pretty long as well, but there was pretty high demand in accommodations. So it wasn't really easy, but thankfully I found one that was just like a 5-minute walk away from the campus. It's not on campus accommodation because it was fully taken up already.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an off-campus one, and applying the visa and all that, it wasn't too hard. And I remember because I went to Clayton campus. So in Melbourne, there's two campuses, which is Caulfield and Clayton. Oh wait, oh there's one more in Peninsula.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So these three campus, for my, okay, I come from a business and commerce,
Yeah.
a Bachelor of Business and Commerce school. So most of the students would be in Caulfield. But for me, because it was the last semester, so I only had one core unit to take, which is economics, my economics major, and then I I was underloading that sem, so I was taking 3 units only. The other two I was taking arts units. So that econ unit I actually they actually offered both in Caulfield and Clayton. But the two art units were offered in Clayton. So for me, I naturally went to Clayton. And also because Clayton is the main campus, Caulfield is like way
Second.
much
Yeah.
smaller. Yeah, so obviously I went to the bigger campus to experience more things. So that being said, the entry requirement for Clayton is definitely higher and more competitive compared to Caulfield. If I'm not mistaken, you have to have a WAM of 70% in order
Okay.
to get into Clayton. But then
Okay.
for Caulfield, it was 60%. So a 10% difference.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And how was the application like? Did you need a lot of documentations? Did you have to show financials?
Mm.
All of that?
At
I
that point
mean,
of time, they weren't so strict because they were actually promoting for international students to come into Australia. But then now, maybe Rafi could explain it better. I
now,
heard now that it's more strict.
Was it strict for
Like,
you, Rafi?
yeah, it was strict.
So what kind of
Like,
stuff did you need? Like, did you need a lot of documents, financial stuff?
all right, so at first, I need to apply early, obviously, and we have to wait from Monash to send ours, like confirmation of enrollment before I can apply for visa. So, and after I apply for visa, I have to get biometrics, and
Yeah,
then I have
there's
to
the visa.
fly from
Yeah.
my hometown to mainland Malaysia
Oh yeah.
just to get the biometric, and I have to go back home through the same flight
Mhm.
in the same day. And after that, even after I'm finishing applying, put all the documents to prove that I can afford myself,
Mhm.
I have to wait for another 1 month. I got my visa 1 week before my flight. So it was kind of, how to say,
Rushed.
yeah, kind of rush, and I panic a bit, like, oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
miss. The only reason I got my visa is I contact them and say, like, if I don't get my visa, I have to defer my semester. I'm gonna graduate late. They're like, oh, okay, let me look into it. Then I got it like 5 minutes later.
Couldn't you just like tell them that you're going to be a bit late? Maybe they'll let you come 1, 2 weeks late if you haven't got your visa.
Can, but because okay, one thing is when I bought my flight, part of the visa, they ask if they want confirmation that I will come back to Malaysia after I'm done.
Mhm. Oh, okay,
And
okay.
one of the best one is buying my own flight ticket
Yeah, yeah.
to show that
You
the
got a
proof
return
that I'm
ticket
coming
as well.
back. Yeah, so I bought a return ticket as well. So I
Oh,
already bought my flight early, but I
okay.
got it 1 week before my flight.
Okay, that makes sense.
for me,
So,
it was a different reason. Okay, so talking about the process wise, yes, I had to go through biometrics as well, but then I also have to go through health screening, which I think Rafi didn't
No.
have to at
okay.
that point of time. So like I had to
Because
go
of
through
COVID.
some tests. not really COVID. It's just like your health in general. Like we have to go through urine tests and whatnot.
Mhm.
And then once that is done, we have to go through biometrics. But I remember once all of that was submitted, I remember it was like a Thursday. And then the following weeks, Tuesday, I already got my visa. So it took like 3 business days for it to get approved. Whereas Rafi got like a month more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait, you got a month more.
Yeah. I
Oh,
finished applying on end of December. I got it end of January.
you were
31st
going like
January, I remember.
deadline to deadline, bro. What the hell?
I don't know. I mean, I have a reason, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, okay,
So,
okay.
yeah.
That makes sense. So did you also need the same like entry requirement? Did you need like 70% or what is your situation like?
Oh, I didn't check it, honestly. But because when I apply, they gave me. They're like, then
Wait,
it's a
okay.
good
So
experience to exchange.
do you remember what your WAM was roughly? Like because your course is different,
Like,
right?
oh, my was around 72, 73.
Okay, okay, okay. So I think it's like safe to
So
say that you need like roughly a 70 above then. Because
around 70 above because I applied for Clayton too.
okay. And you both exchanged in your last semester, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I underload too. Same as her actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so you guys go to Australia. What is your initial impressions? Like, how are the people? How is the living? How is the handling finances part? How is just life like over there?
Okay,
Right.
Rafi, you wanna go first or me?
You can go first. You're the first one to
Okay.
exchange.
Okay.
Okay.
So for me, I guess what I'm shocked about is that uh you're going to Australia, so I sometimes forget that I'm in Australia. Reason being is that there's so many Asians there.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot. Like I remember my entire uh townhouse where I stayed, it's like I can safely say 100% Chinese.
100%.
Yes.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and but Australians there are generally really, really friendly. Like you just you just walk past someone across the street and like they would just naturally say hi to you. Like even though they don't know you. And then like or they can just like come up to you and just like strike a conversation and then like that's how it all happens. Like it all
Mhm.
happens naturally, but people there are generally really, really nice.
Mhm.
Finances wise, I'll tell you a
Mhm.
funny story. So when I first reached in Australia, that's where I started to get the hang of conversion between MYR and AUD.
Yeah, yeah.
And okay, for those who don't know, AUD is 3 times of Malaysian ringgit. So it's 3 times more expensive. So everything there in my head, like I have to multiply three, and that's how much I need to pay in ringgit Malaysia. So for me, it's like, okay, wow, it's so expensive here. So I remember the first day, when I just landed, I had to go shopping because like I didn't have pillows, I didn't have like toiletries and all that. Like I packed really light going there. So after I settled everything for my house, I got hungry. And at that time I remember it was like 5 5 p.m. ish, and the sky was already getting dark because it was peak winter. And so I walked to 7E because I needed to get the Mikey card as well, which is what we use for public transports there. Yeah, so I went to 7E, then I grabbed a sandwich and a muffin. So
Hmm.
I bought those two. And the sandwich came like there's 2 pieces. So I had one piece that day, and then the following day I had it for my breakfast.
Yeah. Okay.
That's so sad. And then the muffin, I ate half a muffin for my dinner, and then I continued the second half at the end of the day.
So that's an
Then
indication for those who want to go Australia about the price.
Yep.
for Malaysians, but like don't follow me because like um groceries there, groceries in Australia is really cheap. Like I can get a 2 liter of milk, fresh
Mhm.
milk, for like $2, $3.
What about Milo?
Oh, okay. This is a pretty big debate between Malaysians and Australian because Australian Milo and Malaysian Milo are two different tastes.
But just context for those who have no idea, because majority of the people listening are like Pakistanis. We have some international viewers, but it's mainly Pakistanis. Malaysians are obsessed with Milo, and it's a very controversial claim. I don't think it's controversial actually that Milo originates from Australia. So yeah, so because of that reason, there's like a big debate about which Milo is better. And to be honest, I feel like most Malaysians go to Australia because of the Milo. So yeah, continue.
Okay, yeah, for me personally, I prefer Australian Milo. Reason being is
Ooh, look at Rafi's
reason
reaction.
being he's gonna fight me back. But like let me talk first. Basically because Australian Milo, yes, it's kind of bland if you just mix it with hot water or like sugar or whatever. But for me, I like to mix it with Australian fresh milk itself. So when
Australian
you mix
fresh
it,
milk.
yes, the fresh milk there. Of course, I would buy fresh milk from
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all
Makes sense.
one, right? So yeah, it's really, really nice. Like for me, I like the taste of it.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Before we move on to another topic, Rafi, what do you think about this?
But Milo,
Yeah.
I just prefer Malaysian Milo. It's sweeter and it tastes
Patriot.
better. Like without any mixing, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
just itself
Patriotic.
is already good. Yeah,
Nice
of course.
patriotism. Okay. So now moving away from the Milo part, what like
Yeah.
cost would you say? Like if you were to put a number, right, on someone who's coming to Australia and they're like that if I
Uh-huh.
am someone who cooks 90% of the time,
Uh-huh.
what weekly or monthly budget would you tell them is fair enough to have in like Melbourne area where you guys live, where Monash is too?
Monthly. I feel like 500 is good enough.
Oh,
more than enough.
Yeah,
500 per
500
month
is good.
for living is
500 per month. Mm.
and for those who maybe like
Exclude
eat out,
exclude rents.
yeah, yeah, of course, just the living expense,
Yeah.
right? Like eating and all.
Eh,
So for those who eat out plus cook less, how much would you say?
Ooh. I don't know, 1,500. I don't think that's
No,
enough.
I
It
don't
depends
think
on
it's
where
it.
they go out.
Yeah, it depends
Um,
what you eat.
Yeah, it
okay.
depends on
Okay,
what you
because
eat.
food there in general, like let's say for a proper meal, maybe average $20.
Yeah, $20. $15 to $20.
Wait, so if an
Yeah,
average meal is 15, okay, okay, yeah, then it's impossible. $500 is impossible then for you to survive on. Like, so you need to be
Yeah,
cooking to be able to spend that much money.
to have fun.
$560. Okay, okay, makes sense. And what about the accommodation? How is that like? I mean, a sharing or
Mm,
non-sharing?
all right. Like
um,
I'm not sure about during Jennifer's time, but for my time, it was quite hard to find a place because at that time they were going through a housing crisis
Mhm.
and all the rent went up. And it's very hard to find anywhere near Clayton. I got lucky and found a place for like considered cheap, 280 per week. That's considered cheap.
that
And
really.
yeah, and I don't only I have my own room and only one other roommate, other housemate, and then
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
living with a family,
And
so like
okay,
it's good
okay.
enough
So in that situation, how much would your rent be?
per month. one
Yeah.
thousand two hundred dollar,
How much?
$1,200.
Okay, okay. And if you were to hypothetically live in like an en-suite room off campus, then how much would that be roughly?
on
Like on
campus.
on campus, $300
Oh, okay,
per
800.
week, $300 per week. So that's like
Oh,
1,500 per month.
okay, okay. That's not bad. That's actually not bad. That's not
Yeah,
actually
but the demand is quite high, so that's why
okay, okay. Like
it's
even
very
You
hard
Jenny
to
need to
said
find.
get it.
she wasn't able to find an on-campus accommodation.
I remember someone told me that you need to apply like at least a year in advance in order to get a space there.
Yeah.
On campus, I mean. But like for my rent, it was 360 per week. So I pay 1,500 plus a month dollars.
Ooh.
And it's extremely expensive. But it's considered below average in Clayton itself because I know places that are like 440 and above. So
So I mean, in terms of expense, do you think it's fair enough to say like it depends person to person, right? But like if you were to say 2 to 2.5, right? Monthly expenditure, accommodation, personal living, would that be fair to say?
including, you mean accommodations and your
Yeah,
monthly
yeah.
expenses?
Accommodation, living, all of that.
Yeah, yeah, I guess you can say that. But like but like 2/3 of it would go to rent, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
rent's very expensive.
okay, that makes sense. So I want to come to a very important topic which most people actually ask us, and we have this option where people can DM us questions. So we had some people ask questions regarding to this topic, and that is about part-time jobs over there. So people get really enticed by the fact that you can get a lot of money over there and work as, a bussy and stuff like that. So how much can you earn over there hourly in what kind of jobs?
For me, I apply under simplified projects. So what we basically do is if there's any private functions or events, festivals or whatnot, so we will be the organizers or the people who take care of the food and the guests and all that. So we're hired on a casual basis. So casuals get paid higher rates than part-timers. So for myself, on a regular day, we get paid $27 per hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and for me, my role was a bussy. So what I really do is like I help bartenders
Yeah.
because you need a license to do bartending,
Yeah.
and I didn't have the time
Yeah.
or opportunity to get into that. So I was just a bussy. And I remember working for a public holiday once. I think it was for New Year's.
It's the
I worked for
WPA.
12 hours
Yeah.
and they pay higher rates.
Yeah.
So on at that time they were paying $40 per hour.
Wow.
So yeah, on that day itself I got like $480 just working in a day.
And Rafi, how's your experience been working?
Oh, I didn't work.
Oh,
Rich, rich,
Well,
rich.
okay, mainly because the reason is I went to Australia 1 month before Ramadan, and
okay.
during Ramadan, I didn't
Yeah,
work.
of course, yeah.
So me and like my girlfriends, we plan to find job after Ramadan, but they don't hire people who stay less than 4 months at a time.
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes
because the
sense.
demand for work is already like high, but supply of work is low. So there's like
Yeah. Okay,
no
so I want to
option.
like clarify something because I was doing this calculation and some people asked me to, so I ran it by. If you get roughly, according to what Jen said, right, $27 per hour. If I'm not mistaken, you can be work like 20 hours a week, right? 40 hours every fortnight, which is twice a week. I mean, 2 weeks. So according to 20 hours a week, you can get roughly 2,160. Okay. So is it safe to say that you can take out almost your entire living and accommodation if you're working part-time for the max hours?
Yeah,
Actually, and it's
yeah.
even easier at my time because during my time they forgo this 20 hours per fortnight rule. So we can
Mhm.
work as much as we want.
Wow.
So even easier at that time. But I'm not sure if they implemented the rules back.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're back
Rafi
to
can.
that rule now. They
Yeah,
become
it's back.
Oh,
Yeah, they've come back with the rule and they've become a bit more strict with financial regulations for those coming in Australia as well now. So that's a bit of a hurdle for those who want to get a visa. Okay, we're a bit low on time, so I want to ask you guys a very important question, which will be probably one of our last questions about the studies over there. We didn't really touch much on that. From Monash University, Malaysia to Australia, what major difference did you see in the type of studies? Is it harder? Is it different? How's the grading like? Rafi, you want to
I
start?
think,
For
um,
me, it's easier, and the syllables are how to say it's more relaxed, and the teachers are like more liberal in the sense like it's Western countries stuff like that. They're very liberal. The teachers are more, let's say, like being friends with the students instead, and they mark very like freely compared to Malaysia, which is like an Asian culture. So the
Yeah.
teachers are more strict in terms of culture. Yeah, it's easier to be open there and like
What about
just do your work.
in terms of like grading, Jen? What would you say about grading? Like, is it easier to score grades? Is it harder? How's it like?
I think it depends what units you take. But personally, for econs itself, it was very it we answer in a very structured way. So if we understand the question, we implement what we learn into it, then we'll be fine. But when it comes to like art units, like what like I took social behavior and one was uh ethics, law in ethics or something like that. But
Yeah.
either way, I find those two a bit strict in terms of their marking. because it's a very open-ended question. There's no right or wrong. So it's more I guess it's the major difference between Asian culture and Western culture, the way of teaching, the way of answering, because for Asian culture, we are very used to getting spoon-feed
Yeah, yeah,
information.
yeah, yeah,
But for Western, they're very much open. They
yeah,
will just tell you briefly and then
yeah.
they'll let you explore it. And if you have any questions, you come back to them, which in terms kind of shapes into how you handle things on your own, I would say. So it was a really good experience. So again, when it comes to grading, um, yeah, it depends on the unit itself.
Okay. Makes sense. So we are really short on time right now. Sadly, we have a timer on Zoom going with less than 2 minutes now. So I just want to say thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And whatever you guys do in the future, continue with your respective companies and professions. I wish you guys the best. And it's been amazing knowing you guys for so many years as friends. Hopefully, we'll continue staying friends. And yeah, you have any closing remarks before we end it?
Now,
You can come
I'm
to
just really
Australia. It's
grateful.
fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, next time
I
we'll
mean, even though
go.
it's expensive.
We should go
Even though
together
it's
in a
expensive.
non-steady way, you know?
Oh, of course. I would go
That's
back to
good.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's
Jen,
insane.
anything you want to say before we go?
I'm just really grateful for this opportunity to be able to talk with you guys. We never really had this kind of talk, so it's a great exposure
Yeah, and
and
for like
opportunity.
all those listening, we've been friends for a while now, and we haven't been able to talk generally too. So this podcast gave a good excuse for us to actually, talk and get to know each other after a very long time. So I'm appreciative of that. And once again, thank you guys so much. And for those listening, we will find you guys next week on another episode of Empowered Abroad. Stay tuned. Thank you so much, and bye bye.